Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Krista and Ed show.
Hi.
I am Krista, and this
Ed.
is Ed.
Yes.
And we have an amazing woman with us today, Coach Cass. She is she's a serious woman on the go. You can tell she's in her car today, and she joined us here. I'm so excited to have her on the show. Coach Cass has been featured in Women's Day, been on TV, on the radio, but most of all, she loves being here, with all of you. She has a passion in helping professional women break through in their love lives. Coach Cass has the belief that every woman deserves real love, and she's married, has a beautiful baby girl. So please join me in welcoming this amazing woman who was recently chosen as one of Miami's most prominent women in the business. Welcome.
Woo! Hey, Eddie, Krista, what's up, everybody?
Let's get it straight.
It's a party. That's right. Yeah, make your move, Tony Robbins. Let's do it.
Right.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. Okay, wait, I'm gonna.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Sorry. Okay, that's good. It's usually like 12 minutes, and he knows just when you're so tired of it, and then he goes, yeah, okay.
Yep. That's it.
Ed's always trying to steal the show. Okay,
Sorry.
so Coach Cass, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Can you just maybe tell us a little bit about your story and your journey and what you're up to today?
Ooh, wow, that's a lot to do. I don't want to take it over now. Okay, so I'm happy to be here. And so my story is once upon a time, I was dating a guy that I thought was the one. Anybody ever think somebody was the one before? Mm-hmm. So we traveled together, we did business together. I just knew that this was the one for me. Until one Christmas Eve, I got a call from a mutual friend. Hey, Merry Christmas. It was a mutual friend. He said, no, that's not why I'm calling. Are you sitting? Sure. He said, you know that guy that you think is the one that's so amazing? Yeah, what about him? He's married.
What? He was married?
Mother.
Exactly. So my heart shattered across the floor. I was so sad, yet so angry. You ever got a call like where you felt the bottom fell out, whether it was your finances or your health or your relationship? That's where I was. And I was in a really toxic place for a really long time because of all the guilt and the shame. It's not like anybody was calling me to say, you know what, Cass, you're stupid. But I was telling myself that every single day. How could I be so stupid? The guilt, the shame, the craziness. So literally my defining moment came when I got like my 29th wedding invitation. Have y'all ever felt like everybody was getting married? It didn't matter the age, the stage, the race, the weight, everybody. So for me, I was like, okay, something's got to give. So that was my defining moment. I made the decision that just like I invest in my business, just like I invest in my fitness, I needed to invest in my love life. And it changed everything for me. I became a student of love because I realized that love was just as important. What's the point of making all this money if you have nobody to spend it with, right? Like, come on. So I read every book I could on love, over 100 books. I went to every marriage conference as a single person. I got my own help one-on-one. I hired my own coach. I interviewed couples that actually still liked each other after 25 years. I don't know about you, but I knew a lot of disgruntled married folk, right? Like there's a lot of disgruntled married people out there, and they weren't selling love at all, right? So for me, I had to seek out people that actually still liked each other. And then I had to find businesswomen that were successful in business and in love because there was something in me that felt like it couldn't happen. So that's really what led me to where I am now, married to an amazing man, the master storyteller, Andy Henriquez, and my baby girl, Ava, the traveler, who's trying on lipstick already, which is just so crazy. And now I'm just on a mission to help women not settle, to be in amazing relationships that makes their heart smile, So that's where I'm at. That's kind of what brought me to where I am. That's the quick version.
That is so amazing. I love that. And I actually have had the opportunity to meet you and your husband. And, you know, without even speaking to you, you can tell the love that you guys have for each other. You both have such a bright light shining individually, but then together, the way you guys look at each other is like amazing. So I love that you took something that, you know, you were struggling with, pushed through, and then now have, you know, created a business impacting other women to do this. I think that's huge.
You know,
Thank you.
I would say it's some people take those super negative experiences and just kind of carry it. They don't stop and go, okay, how am I going to pivot? How am I going to learn from this? Like you did a ton of self-learning, like 100 books, and really just fed your mind and said, okay, and then tried to connect the dots. And a lot of people don't do that. You say, this is a bad experience, I'm just going to avoid relationships. Or
well, I think at times it's not that people don't want to, they just don't have the tools, right, to do it, or the people around them to support them or direct them in that way. So, you know, you probably have had since I've been working at home and like a mom, I can't even talk like a normal human being anymore, just so you know. I was going to use the word, I'm like, I don't even know if that's
it's okay. I get it.
That's an adult word. Okay. What was I going to say? I'm sure you've had like an aha moment too, as you went through it, like that probably like pulled your heart where you're like, I have a moral obligation almost to like share this with other women, because like, how could you keep that to yourself?
I get both sides of what you're saying, right? So on one side, there's so many people that sit in it and then say, I'm not going to do relationships anymore, which are many of my clients, right? I helped to pull them out of that because I was their Ed. And then with you, Krista, yes, because I realized that, look, I almost settled. I almost chose the wrong one about 7 times, right? So it's like so many of us know someone who's settling in a relationship or just not happy. And it's like, okay, if you're not married, there's a chance for you to try again, right? You don't need to stick with that person, right? So how do you choose the right one? How do you choose something amazing? Like the man that God had for me was greater than anything that I could imagine. But if I didn't create that space and do that work, I would have just, you know, went with the Joe Schmo that was like on the first date, hey, you got the next one, right? And that definitely was not the one.
So, you know, it's funny though, because obviously by you doing the work on yourself, you've attracted to your life. Because if you didn't, you can't, right? There's that saying like birds of a feather flock together, right? So I would imagine that a lot of what you do when you work with women isn't like telling them, hey, how to find a man that looks like this. It's more about working on themselves to become that person to attract.
Yes. It is more so mindset. I work on their love mindset because, you know, so many times when we've been hurt and jaded, you just don't trust anymore, and it's tough. So it's really helping them to understand what's your gut and what's self-sabotage, you know, because sometimes we get that mixed up, like, oh, you know, my gut said this wasn't it. Was it? Or is it because he did one thing that reminded you of your ex and it had nothing to do with him, you know? So it's like we kind of paint this negative picture on our relationships and we don't even give them a chance. So I really help women to give a guy a chance. Give him a chance. Don't take it so seriously. Have a little fun, you know, versus saying, you know, are you the one? Are you going to hurt me? How much money do you make? What's your credit score? You know, like it's a little serious.
You know, it's so funny you said that. I'm just sharing this personally. I have a friend who, you know, went through a divorce for quite a few years, right? And was like, no, I'm not dating. And I think in the last year, she's started dating more. Now she's seeing a great guy. But she's done that so many times. Like she'll like message me and be like, oh my God, he doesn't eat anything but poutine and pizza. I'm like, he sounds amazing. Right? He's like, no, I understand. And I'm like, no, he sounds great. Like, you don't, like, who cares, right? So I know exactly what you're saying. And I'm like, but I know as a friend, like, she's just trying to, like, I think it's, like you said, when you've been hurt before, you have a wall, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to let you.
I think there's another side to this too, right? Like, how many people have you met and coached that have this pattern of picking the wrong person over and over again, right?
Yes.
So that internal
Yes.
work is not to necessarily self-sabotage, but also not to like run and run towards somebody because of this need that you have inside that you're trying to
Hmm.
fill, right?
Yeah, so it's two sides. I've had a client that literally married every person she was in a relationship. So she was married maybe 4 times. Yeah.
Oh,
My goodness. Yeah. And then on the other side, a woman who hadn't been on a date in 8 years because she was too scared to get out there again. Because a lot of the women I deal with are over 40 and professional. So then they're like,
yeah.
online dating, serial killers. It's like hand in hand. Everybody's not a stalker or a killer. You still
Yeah.
have to be careful, but you can meet a stalker on the street, so there's no guarantee. So you gotta give people a chance. So both sides, two extremes, but we go through it every single day, and much of what we go through is right between our ears. It's our own mindset when it comes to love that then creates our reality and our perception.
Yeah. So, that same friend, when she started online dating, I used to go on her dates undercover with my girlfriend because like, you have to, right? Because like I also, was in a relationship for a long time that obviously wasn't meant to be, and I found him. So I tell my girlfriends like, like the right person's out there for you. You just
Yeah.
you're not. Usually, he's gonna show up when you're not looking. So you
Mhm.
stop
Mhm.
stop putting the pressure on yourself and them too,
Yeah.
like you said, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
go with my other girlfriend. Sometimes my brother came with me, and I'm like, okay. So we'd sit at another table, and then we'd meet in the bathroom, and we'd like,
He's
right?
okay.
And she's like, oh my God, can you like call me and be like, I have to leave? But you know what? I was being a good friend because I was encouraging her to meet people. I was
You're
also
amazing.
helping with her fear of, being killed, which she never was.
It's a small fear.
Anyways,
That's beautiful. People need more friends like you, Krista.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, then
And
she
you said she's dating a great guy now, so that's good.
She actually is dating a really great guy, and then
No.
she stopped going on online dates, so I had nowhere else to go every week on a Wednesday, but it's all good. But anyway, so no, that's amazing. You know what I love as well is like you have a daughter, right? She's 3.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's so important for kids to see their parents in love as well. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Okay. So can I tell you which was so crazy? And I just posted this on my Instagram. So the other day, we're at a friend's house and I'm helping to watch my friend's baby so she can have a date night, right? You gotta help the people have date nights, right? This is a thing. Anybody listening, help your friend have a date night, hold their baby. Anyway, so we're over there and she goes, Mommy. I said, What? She says, I'm Coach Cass. I said, What? And she's like, I have an event and I have dancers. I was like, what is happening right now? So that just gave me such an awareness that she is watching, right? And she's paying attention and she's listening. So for me, that was just like a pause in time that I shared on my social media because I was just like, wow, like we don't understand how much they pay attention. So yes, you're right, Krista, in terms of being intentional. Like someone shared with me the other night, what do you want your child to go to sleep remembering as the last thought? Is it her parents screaming or her parents loving on her no matter how many times she has to go to the potty and drink water and eat a snack and ask for hugs? And the list goes on to avoid bedtime. But trying to be loving through this entire experience, but we don't want to be so loving. And that's exactly why I started the Real Love Network. So I have a membership community for professional women, and literally it's a monthly membership to help you through your love journey. So whether you're scared of dating, choosing the one, which is really scary, or in a relationship because you don't want to mess it up, right? And I understand a lot of times that you have your girlfriends, and most of you don't have girlfriends like Krista, right? So it's like you have girlfriends with really crappy advice, that aren't telling you a good thing, right? So it's just good to have professional support, so that's really why I created the Real Love Network and why that exists is to be able to be in a community that really supports this thing called love, putting it back in its place on top.
Nice.
Absolutely. And I love that. I feel like sometimes, relationships, marriage, that kind of stuff is almost too easily dismissed nowadays,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard somebody say before that, when you go to a friend or family or even, a counselor, whatever, sometimes when you're having problems in your relationship, people can only give you the advice that they're capable of giving you, right? And a lot of times
Right.
it comes from their own experience or
Right.
opinions, right? It's very
Right.
dangerous to tell somebody, especially when you're in a vulnerable spot in your relationship,
Yeah.
well, you need to get a divorce or whatever, right? I think
Right.
I know that I do think obviously there's times where that has to happen, but I'm also a strong believer in, doing the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I like
But
what
it's
you're
also
doing.
commitment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's a
anybody
commitment.
that tells you it's not is crazy. Like
Yeah.
we we
Yeah.
we were fighting for half an hour before we turned the camera on here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it happens all the time, which is why my husband and I have not come out with a podcast like this, right? So
Oh, right.
you amazing.
Yeah.
So some days you wake up liking your husband, some days you don't, and it just is. So it's the commitment. What is it? A commitment is when you commit to something past your feeling of wanting to do it, right? So it's like you still continue to do it because that love's gonna come back. Just think about old roommates in college. You didn't like them every day, but
Yeah.
you still had them as a roommate. You still shared pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's interesting what you're talking about there too. Like, if I go back in time and you think of who you get advice from, and if you have a bunch of friends that are single guys, and then you're having a struggle and you're married, they're not the people to get advice from. They're single,
Ever.
whether they're divorced or just single. And in fact, a lot
Oh.
of times it can be almost like negative in the sense like people as a group, want you to belong. So if you're the odd man out and you're married, they're not giving you the right perspective, in my opinion. And I know Krista
Yeah.
up with me before. She's like, we want to hang out and talk and communicate and feed off of positive energy with other dynamic couples because that,
Yeah.
you
So
know, what we
Ed,
need.
I'll tell you, while I was dating my husband as a boyfriend, I noticed that the majority of his friends were single or divorced. So my prayer was for God to bring into my life couples that liked each other and were married, So now we have 5 couples, strong couples in faith because we're also Christian, right? And we get together every couple of weeks. We'll do a Bible study. We'll hang out. We go to each other when we have like when we have issues, we have somebody to talk to, but it's like, one, you have to be open enough to share your issues, right? Because sometimes we're like, oh, well, nobody needs to know this. But if you keep it all inside and don't share it with anybody, then you're just going to blow up at some point, right? As a couple. So like we created this community of love. I did a TED talk on this. So it's building a community of love so that you have that support system when you go through your stuff, that really celebrate you as a couple and won't just say, oh, well, you got to leave him or you got to leave her. Like that's not the first thing out of their mouth. It's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually taking applications for friends as well.
Yes.
Like couples who.
Yes, that's good. You should.
No, you know what? That's one thing we've realized, and it's funny, like even in our circle of friends, right? I guess we've been together 12 years now. As time goes on, a lot of friends that, we were friends with, they've gotten married, they've split up, some have gotten remarried, like in that time frame.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not that they're not still friends, and obviously we still love them and all that
Awesome.
stuff, but
It's
there
tough.
is something, about having people who are at the same stage as you, right? And especially with marriage and business.
Yes.
Those two things are
Oh, yeah.
hard on their own, right?
Oh, girl. Now, that's a whole nother prayer. We have not gotten friends that are good in marriage and business. Like, we have a lot of 9-to-5ers that don't necessarily get our mindset with that. So there's still a separation there, with our friends that we're still, working on that piece. But in terms of like marriage and faith, we've gotten that. And so our Bible studies usually go around relationship, because the one time we decided to study something else, there was a lot of fights in marriages because we weren't talking about relationships. So we realized, even though this can be redundant, guys, this is what we need to meet about as a group, because you always need to feed into this section. I don't care how many times you've heard about the 5 love languages or love and respect or whatever else. You know, we need reminders, because we have attitudes and we have negative thoughts and we have stankness down within us that comes out to our spouse. You know, the closest person to us, we don't know how to be nice. We're just rude as hell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so true.
It's that whole kind of 2,000-year-old brain, and the negativity side does percolate out. You have to work with purpose to go, okay, I'm going to be grateful for her. I'm going to be, you know, mindful.
Yeah.
I was so mad at him this morning. I don't even know why, right? So he there's
wake
nothing
up, man.
he could have said or done. Like, he was wrong right away. I was like, I can't wait for him to talk again, because I'm going to put him in his place, you know? And then I went upstairs and I locked myself in my room, which is so childish, because I'm like, I want him to chase me, right? Because I want to fight more. But he didn't come, which is great.
I got a coffee.
And I'm sitting there, and as I'm sitting there, I'm like, why am I taking everything out on him? I think it's just because I didn't sleep last night. And, you know, I would never do that to somebody I hate, you know?
Right.
That's a strong word. I don't hate people, but you're right. So we have to always check ourselves.
Yeah. So I'll share something that just came up for me. I realized that I'm always annoyed, right? Like, that's my resting place. And I realized that growing up, that was what, in one of the couples that I was always around, the wife was always annoyed by the husband. So it was like this resting place of annoyance. And he's just like, why are you waking up mad? Why are you always angry? Why are you always annoyed? And I'm like,
it's my mom's fault. No, I'm just kidding.
So that's something that I've had to deal with, you know, and it's ongoing, you know, like, why am I just annoyed by you opening your mouth? All you said was hello, you know, like, you didn't do anything, you know? So being able to check ourselves is a big part in relationship. Yeah, you didn't do anything. Ed needs a hug, Krista. Ed needs a hug.
No. Okay. Oh!
Like,
okay, bye. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, a lot of people, it's like the resting bee face, right? He's got the resting annoyed face.
Oh my
God. This is funny. This is, it's totally true though, right?
No, and you know what? I love that. I love that we're just talking about that too, because I think a lot of people, whether they just haven't thought about it or they don't talk about it or admit it, right? And honestly, like we talked about, relationships are hard enough. Why are you trying to pretend they're all perfect? Because you know what? There is not one. Guarantee you that is, because the work hasn't been put in, you know? So totally get it.
Yeah.
So I have
I was going to ask, so are there like a couple of tips you can give our listeners and viewers that, you know, if they're on this journey and they're going, oh man, like what you're saying really makes sense to me, you know, as it relates to relationships, right? Like, is there something that maybe you would like to share?
Okay, so I'll share this. I have this, right? So this is called the Love Deck. It's one side is affirmations and the other side is conversation starters, right? So I initially created this for someone who's dating and seeking out, like, how do I choose the one? How do I know? To ask the deeper questions, because usually when you're dating, you ask, you know, are they sexy? Do we have chemistry? What's for dinner? You know, like, that's really where the conversations lie. And then when you end up getting married to folks, now I'm realizing that's the same thing we do when we're married. So this, actually, I've used it with my husband, I've used it with my mama, I've used it with friends, and it's just being able to have more meaningful conversations, because right now many of our conversations are really surface. So for those of you that are watching or listening, pick up your Love Deck. But outside of that, it's really looking to get to the root of things. You know, what's your money mindset? How did you learn about relationships? Where do you like to travel? Like, ask the real questions. Don't just let them go by. I had a client like 3 days ago. We had a real deal conversation. So she's dating 2 guys. One guy treats her like a queen, invited her to meet everyone. She was really excited, but he said, hey, I want to date multiple people because I just moved to the area and I don't want to settle down just yet. But she really likes him and she's met everybody and been hostess and blah, blah, blah. Then the other guy, like she likes him, she likes his daughter, but he has a lot of baggage is what she says, right? He's not over his ex, blah, blah, blah. So I helped her come to the reality that, hey, this guy's on a shelf. You're just holding him there because this guy said, wait for him. I need you to get rid of both of them. Like you're not happy in both situations. Like it's okay. Keep going. But because as women, we're not really taught to date multiple people and, what's the stereotype? I say you didn't have to sleep with everybody, right? So it's really being able to date multiple people because when you get to be a certain age, we don't have time to settle down with a maybe. Right? So it's like, is this it or is this not it? It's not it. Okay, we keep dating. It's okay. But I'll date multiple people too. So for those of you listening, it's okay to date. Yeah. It's all right. Be open about it. Date multiple people. Like there's no reason to settle down unless you're settling down. That's simple.
I like your don't settle for a maybe. Right? That's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so where can we get a love deck?
Oh, on my website. InspireMany.com. InspireMany.com. Just click on store and it's there. InspireMany.com. MANY.
Okay, so we will link that and share it as well for anybody listening or watching. I have a question for you though. You ready for it?
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, I want you to tell us what is your superpower?
Oh man. So I just saw an interview with Oprah and Lady Gaga down here in Fort Lauderdale, and she was asked this very same question, and she said, you know what, I have many superpowers, so I don't want to just choose one. And so I won't do that to you. So my superpower is creating a fun atmosphere, right? Creating experiences. I realize that memories are made of precious moments that we just capture as moments in time. So I like to create experiences and put people in the atmosphere to have a good time because that's what we remember. I don't remember any of the stuff my mom bought me for Christmas growing up. I don't remember what my husband bought me last week. I don't remember what I bought on Amazon today. But I will remember the fact that I got together with family this weekend to celebrate my mom's birthday, or we went on a cruise for Thanksgiving, or, the fun stuff. We have a holiday coming up. I'm already trying to create something for my daughter. So I like to create experiences. And one of the experiences that I do have is I have the Success and Love Summit that I do for professional single women down here in Fort Lauderdale, where you get to spend 2 days with me having a really good time to explore your love mindset and how to attract real love, starting with you. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
You know
that's
what?
Awesome.
That's amazing. So we'll also link that as well. But that's a great superpower to have, And obviously, I mean, anybody listening or watching can tell that you have the perfect personality and, energy.
I work on it. It's a lot of prayer. We ain't always this happy.
I just can't see you being a boring host. I don't know. You don't strike me as someone who'd be like, hi, water's over there. Like, what I mean?
Water is over there. Water.
That's right.
Awesome.
I love you guys so much. So you guys are in Canada, yeah?
We are. When are you coming?
How cold is it there?
Oh, it's cold. Like
it's minus 30 something today.
Yeah, like this week actually is like a cold warning. Like things are
extreme cold warning.
Yeah, which isn't typically normal.
No, we usually get like a week or two a year, but like I've done shifts today of driving the kids because it's that cold. Like you don't want your skin or whatever exposed to the chilliness.
Yeah, I told my mom yesterday, I'm trying to convince her 60th birthday is coming up. So I'm like, we should go on a holiday together, And she's like, okay, yeah, but she's kind of pushing me off. So last night I'm like, Mom, we're going to freeze this week. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing this for you. Anyways, so do you have a question for us?
Yes. So I want to know, why did you choose each other?
Oh, that's a good one.
He never likes to answer first. Do you want to?
I always answer first.
Okay,
You
go.
always make me answer first.
I know I do.
Well, there was many reasons. She's fabulous. She's beautiful. But really, I think what struck when I met her, she had basically had one boyfriend her entire life. She had a boyfriend for 10 years, and then they broke up, and then she was on her journey. And when I met her, I just thought, wow.
She's pure and innocent.
No, it's about like integrity and commitment, and she had that fortitude, and that's what I think I was really attracted to, you know, as it went along.
Mm-hmm. I chose him because I was afraid to date. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Let's be real.
I actually was, and my mom yelled at me, like literally yelled at me, because she was like, you know what, Krista, you're never going to meet somebody if you don't go out there. And I remember being like, okay, but then anyways, it was good for me because I opened up. So I did end up meeting him, and I was like, you know what, the next one who actually asked me to go out, I'm going to give it a chance. And we went out. He was like amazing. I remember our first date, and this is so silly, but like we went to this beautiful restaurant. It was the Creperie, and I hadn't really been treated, to a nice place like that in a long time. So the waiter comes around, and she's like, would you guys like a drink? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll have a beer, right? She's like, do you want a glass? I'm like, oh, no, thanks. I drink it out of the bottle. And then he's like, I'll have a glass of red wine, please. And I was like, whoa, that's fancy. I'm not used to this, right? No, that's just a funny whatever at the beginning. But like, I got to know him and his heart, and he was just so nice. He was so close with his mom, who was widowed, right? And his daughters. And I just thought, wow, like he's like a great guy. And I remember thinking like, and I didn't want kids. I never wanted kids. Like everybody knows, even my family still now is like, I can't believe he actually had kids. But I had fallen in love with his heart and how he treated his mom and how he treated his kids, that I was like, I think I can do this,
Yeah.
So
it's something amazing when you actually find someone. And I told my husband the same thing. I said, there's nothing in me that needed a child, but because you are you is why I have a daughter, like, and he hates that I say that, but it's the truth. Like,
it's true, right? Like we had, so my stepdaughters, I guess now they're 17 and 19. They were 5 and 7-ish when we got together. And now we have, Scarlett and Jax, our son and daughter, they're 5 and 8. But
beautiful.
I wasn't even open to it then. But again, that's how our relationship started. I think we also, came together, we were adults. We had gone through relationships as well. Although I was married, 10 years, and it's a long time to be with somebody. We had a lot in common of, I think, what we knew we didn't want anymore.
Yes.
So then my part 2 of that question, and Ed goes first, is why do you choose Krista today?
Financial reasons.
I need specific why, a specific why of why you choose Krista today.
Why I choose her today.
Yeah, because it's a choice, right? You could be out there in that minus 30 degree weather all by yourself if you wanted to, right?
Might be depending on your answer. No, I'm just kidding.
There is a doghouse, but it's chilly. She's like, let me plug in the heating mat to the doghouse right now. Okay, why do I choose you today?
Yes.
And
I want you to look at Krista Krista, don't look at me. Krista, look at him. Okay.
Okay. I choose Krista because
I
she.
choose you today.
I choose you today because
Uh-huh.
of the wealth of love that you give, the inspiration that you give me and everyone around us, and you're one of the only people that teach me things that I can learn from. I think that would be it.
Okay. Okay. Now,
That's-
Krista, you.
And we will see you guys tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I always put everything. This is a serious
Look,
question. Ed,
look at him. I choose you today because.
I choose you today because you are an amazing father to our children. You're funny. You make me laugh. You annoy me a lot, but I'm always up for a challenge. You're like my yin to my yang, if that makes sense. Like we're complete opposites in a lot of ways, but I think we bring the best out in each other when we're on the same page. I know that you're loyal to me and that we can pretty much do anything together. Again, if we're on the same page.
And I would agree with you, Krista. We can do anything.
And it's still my turn.
Oh, sorry.
Also, because you're just always like, you're always happy. I know, like, I'm laughing about that. It's not funny, but like,
Yeah.
you can like walk in a room and just like own it and talk to people, and you're just always happy. And one thing that I've realized is that I need to let more of that out, and you've taught me to like be myself where I think I was lost before. And now like I know, like you've taught me so well, my wings are like big and I'm flying and you can't catch me half the time, but that's okay. Like I'll show you.
I hang on a foot.
I don't know. Oh my God. Yeah. Is that good? Is that good?
Give me a kiss.
Hey, kissy, give a kissy, give a kissy. I love it. Did you kiss? Because my screen broke up. Did you give a kiss? Give a kiss. Yeah.
I'm going red.
No.
Sandra, I'm the color of your skirt.
Everybody listening needs to watch the video to make sure they saw that juicy kiss. So I just say that to you guys because sometimes we forget why we chose who we're with, and we forget to say it to them, right? Because we get caught up in the day-to-day. Did you shovel the snow? Did you wash the dishes? Did you do this? Did you do that? And everything becomes a did you do versus a thank you, I love you, I choose you. So that's just a reminder to the two of you as you enter year 13, 14, 50, to remember to love on each other and to look at each other in the face and say something nice. Say something nice.
You know what? Up until now, I've been mad at her secretly because she didn't make me a sandwich today. So.
See? Look at that.
I actually know it was. And I was stubborn. I was like, whatever, like, make your own. Like, if you're hungry, you know how to do it, right? But that goes back to love languages as well, which is a whole other topic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
He makes me coffee every day, and I'm like, thank you. And that's it. I make him coffee, and he's like, oh my God, I love her so much. Like, I don't understand. I'm like, what? Just okay.
It's just coffee. Acts of service. Acts of service. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
If our viewers want to get in touch with you one more time, or listeners, how can we do that? How can we direct them?
Email me. They can email me. They could message me on social media. I'm at Inspire Many. Inspire, INSPIREMANY. On Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. I'm Coach Cass. So yeah, coach@inspiremany.com. That's my email. You know, I'd love to connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Yes.
for joining us today. Any last words you want to say?
No, I want to say thank you. This was truly incredible, and a totally different interview than we've ever done before. So
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
excited
awesome.
to share.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
Hey man, tell your friends. I'm
Albert,
cool. I'm a cool interviewee.
Yeah,
High
that's
five,
right.
high five.
The bar has been raised, guys. No.
All right.
Okay.
I love it.
Thank
Bye.
you. Take care.